Hello traders and welcome to the weekly Auto Setups volume 165. Iliya here, and as always I'm really grateful to have you on the Trading Fanatic channel. You know what we're gonna do in this video. We're gonna explore the market, how it developed this week, what opportunities we had, and most importantly what we can expect for the upcoming week. Happy new month, by the way. It's the 1st of October right now, so a brand new quarter is ahead of us. 3 amazing months. Except for December, because December gets a bit choppy, like around the 15th 20th of December, which is when we have the holidays and stuff. But until then, we make sure to finish strong, right? It's a brand new month, and you know what I do usually in a brand new month. We're gonna have the monthly time frame a little bit to see, like, to do a little bit of more of a top-down analysis to potentially throw some projections. But every single month I also pick somebody that is going to receive lifetime access to everything I offer. And this is a person that has been here for a long time, that has commented on every single video and also has a heart badge under his name. And for this month, this is Mr. Charlie Genius. Congratulations, Charlie. I really look forward to having you in the team. I'm sure you're gonna gain a lot. Thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to working with you. All right, so that is amazing. Well, this month, by the way, something to mention, I'm finishing with a minuscule profit for the month, but I only traded in the first week with 0.10 to 0.25% risk per trade. Like, for my account size, that this is good for me, right? I'm happy. You might laugh at my profit. You probably make this in not in a day, but maybe in 15 minutes. But that is great for me. Right now, I really shifted my priorities because I am in my graduation year for university, and it's really tough, right? I'm at school from 9 to 5, like 3 days a week. And I missed so many great trades, right? It's just unreal, but that's fine. I have accepted it, that it's gonna be like this for a little while. And also I decided to just focus on that fast track to success, like to graduate, and then of course the real stuff is gonna start. All right, so that is just something from me. Of course, if you're new to this channel, it is all about trading. I plan to share more in investing as well from next year, so make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss the videos that are incoming every Saturday. And also once per week I give my best to share an educational piece of content. I have a lot of content on my list, but all I need is just focus and time, which I do not have right now. But I'm really happy to see you tune in every week. I love you all. And yeah, let's actually have a look what we have for this week, because we have a lot. As always, we're gonna get going with the Dixie, but before I do that, I want to shout out my amazing broker, Forex.com. They have all the assets, all the currencies, all the cryptos that you wish to trade with great spreads. They have 2 types of accounts, but I suggest that you pick their eco account. You're gonna pay a little bit of commission, but every single lot that you accumulate will go towards planting 10 trees. They're following on their processes on their website, how many trees they have planted, where. It's really amazing. So check them out. Link is down in the description, and make sure to open your eco account and support the first green broker out there. So Dixie, well, what we can see from the weekly time frame, I'm gonna have a look at the monthly, but honestly, we don't really need the monthly right now because everything is like really extended right now. So this makes it a little bit hard to analyze. So I'm going to be focusing more on the weekly and then dropping again daily, hourly to catch like that intraday vibe, right? Because if I just go on the monthly right now to start with, oh, the monthly candle, did it actually close for September? No, it's probably we're just gonna open. So we can consider this candle actually closed right now, but the next one is simply gonna open on Monday. So yeah, what do we have? We have a massive bullish candle, right? So what can we extract from it? Well, nothing. Like, it's the 4th consecutive bullish candle on the monthly time frame, like extremely bullish dollar. So yeah, what we can say. Of course, if we go on the left, right now the market is going to be tapping into like a very major zone right there on the left. And of course, we can go and explore like the quarterly time frame, because we're also going to have that candle close right there on the quarter. But yeah, then it depends on how you draw your range. Do you take those 2 candles, right? This is your base, like this is your buy to sell right there. So the market is tapping inside. But if you wish to refine it, then you have this, right, which starts from 116. So we can have a little bit more of an upside for the Dixie before it taps, but I'm going to consider that we're already tapping into supply, right? So we can eventually start having a little bit of a reaction to the downside. Guys, look at the quarter. Right, those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive bullish quarters. That is 15 months of bullishness, right? On the monthly time frame, it might look like this, but this is just huge, right? And it's also going with greater strength every single quarter. That is just insane. Wow, we're trading and experiencing amazing times. Stock market crash, dollar exploding, interest rate. It's really fun, right? It's actually the first kind of dynamic that I experience in my trading career like this, when I'm more experienced and when I actually understand things and why they happen. So it's really great, guys. So let's focus. Well, on the weekly time frame, we're making beautiful bullish structure, right? So we had this push, we had this pullback right there, which is great. Then we have another push. So I can consider this to be a break of structure right there, and of course we can draw our demand zone. So yeah, the weekly time frame is perfectly bullish. So this is what we can see. We have a nice pin bar rejection right there, rejection candle or a shooting star, whatever you like to call it. The names really don't matter. What matters is that you actually understand what is happening. The market opened, it pushed very nicely into the highs, almost went into 115, very nicely rejected, and actually closed bearish. So this signifies a lot of bearish pressure. So probably we're going to be seeing a little bit of a shift on the 4-hourly and maybe even on the daily. However, when we go on the daily, we see a little bit more detail, right? So there is our break of structure on the weekly time frame. But if I ask the question, well, what actually caused the break of structure? Well, what we see is that there was a little bit of a supply zone right there. So what the market did, it pushed into that supply and then stayed right there for 5 days. And then it flipped to the upside, right? So technically, I would say this right here is actually the strongest demand zone that I'm going to be looking for. But look what we have right now. We have another base candle right there. And if I take the range, if I take it like this, right? We're right now into 50%. If I take it like this, we're just about to tap 50%. Okay. So I am very curious to see how the Dixie is going to respond from this daily zone, right? And what we need to see though, in order to actually say that the market is going to respond to this daily zone, is potentially a 4-hourly shift, right? And what are we doing right now on the 4H? So we start on Monday right here somewhere, right? With a nice bullish push. The market then pulled back another long. We went ahead and broke the high. So we created a new weekly high and then we flushed, causing a 4-hourly reversal right there. Then we pull back, created the lower high. Where did we create that lower high? At the 50%. Beautiful. And then we had a little bit of a zone precisely right there to potentially trade off of. And I'm just going to delete this zone. It's way too big. We're just moving on the side. Reacted from right there. Then we went ahead and made another structure break, right? And right now we're tapping into the zone and reacting in a very kind of subtle way, right? It's not a big reaction. We had a huge wick right there, but we're still trading within this range according to me. Okay, so technically right now the DXY is bearish on the 4H, but we are about to tap into daily demand zone. Okay, so is this demand zone going to work out? We're going to see in the upcoming week, right? Or are we going to come and retest the lower ones? Well, of course, this also depends on the dynamics, on the fundamentals, because currently I think the market is really driven by fundamentals. Did this one actually tap the 50%? If I just want to check quickly. Almost, right? They just wanted to kiss the 50%. So yes, what I'm going to be doing right now, well, technically we can do two things. We can either push into the highs a little bit to grab more liquidity and then to continue lower, or we can just like consolidate for a little bit, maybe give a little bit of a pullback and push into the lows. What I'm going to be doing right now for the upcoming week is just following the 4-hourly structure, the 4-hourly flow, right? But of course, I'm always aware where the market is in terms of the daily and the weekly. Right, so I'm not gonna go on the 15-minute because there is nothing much to explore in the 15. Like we had this short-term reversal, but the market is already like a shifting bearish right there. So really, I'm gonna allow it for some time to develop a little bit. But yes, eventually, what I would like to see is for the market to tap inside right there, to start shifting structure to bullish, and then potentially we can start seeing higher zones, right? 115, and then if actually that quarterly zone is gonna tap, we can even see 116 on the Dixie, right? So this is what I'm looking for, right? Currently it's bearish, so if I get the opportunity to short, maybe something like this, I'm gonna do so, riding it towards the lows, right? And also if we just check the interest rate, well, 3.25 for the dollar, which is the biggest interest rate across like the major pairs right now. The British and the Australian are trying to catch up. The Canadian is already caught up, right? But look at the euro. Like the euro, you gotta rush, guys. Lagarde, you gotta take some action. So yeah, this is pretty much why the dollar is so strong. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it here with the Dixie. Currently we have that bearish flow on the 4-hourly time frame, so I follow this until we have a shift. And of course I am aware that we're tapping into a daily demand zone that can give us a strong reaction. So let's see how it's gonna play out. Let's have a look at my favorite pair, Mr. Euro USD. So what we're having right here is similar to the Dixie. Well, pretty much, yeah, they're negatively correlated. We're having a very nice rejection candle coming from the downside, right? We pushed very nicely, almost went towards 0.95, right? We just reacted probably from 0.9550, and we're rejecting very nicely, currently staying around 0.98, okay? So it's very easy to define the weekly range right now because we had a push. Like, look at that beautiful weekly downtrend, right? So we have a pullback, push, pullback, push. Right now we're having another pullback, and it has been doing this for quite a while, right? So we just keep following it until we were wrong, right? And as long as the ECB doesn't hike their rates, this is gonna keep dropping, right? So this is our weekly range. If you want me to explore like the month of Euro USD, if you want me to explore the monthly and the quarterly time frame, we can go to FXCM where we have data, and you're gonna see that we are about to tap, like similarly to the Dixie, right? This is pretty much the zone right there, which is around 0.90. It starts from 0.93, 50 towards 0.85, right? So this is the area where I potentially expect the market to react from, because this little base candle right there is already broken, right? So the liquidity right here is taken, which might cause a little bit of a reaction, right? But if you're looking like for a major reversal or for a major pullback, then 0.90 can be the level, right? So I don't want to call it that much, right? This is too far in time. So if I just go on the monthly, right, so we can see that this liquidity is grabbed. So the next level is pretty much this, right? The sell to buy that actually caused the break of structure, right? So yeah, this is where I eventually want to see price, but it's not about what I want, it's about what actually happens, right? So back to my Euro USD, where is it? There it is. Dropping onto the weekly, we have our weekly range. We're still bearish. We can draw a weekly supply zone. This is our weekly lower high, which is very important. And dropping onto the daily, precisely the same situation as with the Dixie. And we're having a nice supply zone within the 50% of the weekly leg, which is very strong, right? If we consider the daily leg starts from here, which already means that we're in the 50%, and we're almost in the 50% of the weekly leg, which is why I think we can definitely get a reaction from this zone, right? Because it's a very important zone. It is a bearish candle in this case. We have a like an opposite candle on the Dixie, which is good. This one is a base candle in the same direction, which is still fine, right? So curious to see how it's gonna respond right there. And then of course dropping onto the 4H. We pull back a little bit, we chopped for a while, right? What the market did this week is pretty much responded from here, from this little zone, right? Which is also, if you know how to identify correctly ranges, the range started from here. If you put it to the downside, you see that we just kissed 50% right there on this tap, and then we reversed. I got a little bit of a confusion, right? Because we pushed, we pulled back, then the market stopped right there, and I was like, okay, well, it looks like it pushes up, so I thought this one is gonna get taken, so I missed a long somewhere along right there. I was looking to take it. I took actually a 0.12% loss this week on EU. I can show you if you go to the 15-minute. But yeah, pretty much we tapped inside this, we went on, we broke the low, but then you can see we immediately shifted the forward trend to bullish. There was a day that I was looking for longs. It was Thursday, my only day where I was at home, but the bastard did not provide, right? It did not provide my setups. Push, pull back 50%, then we started shifting on the 15-minute, beautiful move into the high. So this, according to me, was the biggest trade of this week, but yeah, it was very hard to catch, right? So right now we tap inside, we pull back a little bit, we take again a little bit of liquidity, and we can say that it's kind of shifting to the downside a little bit, but I wouldn't say so, because I wouldn't count this one right there as a valid higher low. In order to say that I have a valid higher low, I need at least like 2 candles to pull back, right? This is a little rule that I'm testing, so we can still say that we are within this bullish range, right? So again, it's very 50-50 right now, because if I go to the 15-minute right now, the market will be reversing. I already see the reversal. I already see the supply zone being formed, right? So this could be the case, but also you can see that 50% is not tapped yet, right? We took the liquidity above this little range, right? So of course, what we can do is we can either start reversing from there, is one of the scenarios, or we can tap inside a little bit higher. And then if I see the shift, that's when I'm going to start looking for the shorts. Okay. So I'm overall short bias on EU, like on the hard time frames. But what are we doing right now is we're overall bullish still on the 4H. So I would need to see a little bit more development. And as I told you, if we drop to the 50-minute time frame, like we see this range, the market went into the highs, took the liquidity, and then massively initiated to the downside. So right now we're pulling back towards the zone, right? So if I see a nice development within this sort of range, and if the 50-minute, for example, taps inside, then it starts to shift to the downside, I will be curious to take a short, right? Which might be a little bit risky. And yeah, then see how it's going to develop, because technically we had this push, we had a pullback into 50%. So right now the market can easily go and take out the high. Okay, so again, I think brand new monthly candle open, quarterly open. I'm going to give it some time, right? But I'm also going to be curious to see if we can get any shorts from this zone right there. Okay, so pretty much the trades that I wanted to take, there were these longs right there. So first I tried to take a long from here, it didn't retest. Then I tried to take a long from here, it didn't come in as deep. Then push pullback, then I tried to enter a long from here, but the setup was so choppy that I didn't take it, and by the time it pushed, it was already late. So I didn't trade right there, and the other days I just didn't have the time. There were a lot of amazing trades. Where is the trade I took? Yeah, I think we can just forget about it because it's gonna take a lot of time. It was a short, but yeah. Oh yeah, this is the short that I took, right? So after seeing the market responding from this and actually causing a 15-minute reversal, I asked myself the question, what is the structure that actually caused that break? It is this. The market tapped, gave a bearish reaction, but then went on and it hit my reduced stop loss. So I'm not gonna go into detail to show this trade because there is not so much value. And yeah, there were a lot of trades. My community killed it this week on EU. I'm very proud of all of them. We had some challenges passed this week as well, so a lot of amazing moves. So hopefully all of you guys also capitalize well on EU. So stay tuned for the Tuesday flow with the markets, where I'm going to give you an update, right? We have a potential for a long right now, making a new high and tapping into the 50% of the weekly leg. And of course, we have a potential for bearishness. So I'm letting Monday play out, giving the 50-minute a little bit of time to develop, and then I'm going to strike. Let's have a look at Euro Yen. So very interesting. We have a very nice bullish candle with the overall weekly trend, because the weekly trend on this one is bullish, right? We consolidated for a while, we pushed up, we made a new high, and right now the market actually this week, it pulled back towards the weekly demand, which I probably called last week. I'm not sure because I don't follow on the JPY pairs. And we're having a massive rejection right now, right? If I just go on the monthly time frame, well, the monthly candle is going to close kind of bullish, making a new high, but still with a wick. So it's not the best monthly candle that we can have, but it's what we can work with, right? And if I just go on the left, it is very important to know that we tapped also in 2014 major supply zone, right? So we tapped inside and we rejected massively. Okay, so this is something that we have to be aware of. But yeah, the weekly time frame is still bullish. We're having a massive reaction right now. So is it going to go ahead and make a new high? Well, this is what we're going to see in the upcoming month, right? Dropping onto the daily, the JPYs are always giving me a hard time, right? Because we have a push right there, we have a pullback, which is valid. Then we have a push, we have kind of a pullback, push, then it looks like it shifted, similar to what we have on EU right now on the 4H, right? It's not a very valid range, right? But it actually shifted, pulled back, and it dropped, right? So this is precisely the price action we have on EU right now on the 4H, right? So hopefully you remember. Massive drop to the downside and a very big reaction. So right now, like a couple of things can happen. The market is tapping inside this wick, which might give us that bearish pressure to the downside, or the market can also be shifting bullish from this weekly demand zone. Okay, so those are kind of the two outcomes. We either can reverse from here, or we can, of course, continue with that bullishness on the daily. So daily does not give me a lot of info, right? It's overall bullish, but it kind of shifted lower. It also broke even below this structure. So what we're responding right now is a weekly zone, okay? But then, of course, the 4-hour time frame, our savior. I'm gonna take this zone right now, make it into the wick. So we have one more push into the highs. Why? Well, let's follow price. We have a push, we have a pullback, which is valid. Then we have a push, we have a pullback, which is valid. But then the market did not go ahead and break the low. So technically, where is our lower high? Well, I would say it could be either this one, but it doesn't really matter if you take this one or that one. They both got broken. Okay, so yeah, I usually love to look at details, but this is where we actually shifted the structure. And what happens, this is the first push, push, pullback, push, pullback. So if you look at the Elliott wave theory, we have a space for one more push before we start reversing. Okay, and what we see is that we're already into 50% and we're already in a push phase, right? So there is our range, there is our 50% tapped, and potentially the 50-minute has already reversed. Break low, break high. So there's the reversal, push, break of structure right there. So technically you might have like a 30-minute zone somewhere within right there, right? So well, to wrap it up in terms of the higher time frame analysis, I do think we have one more push into the highs, right? Which means that EU might also give us one more push to tap deeper into that supply zone, and then from there I would like to see whether that bearishness that it's coming from the kind of from this big zone right there, and that is coming from this overall reversal, is gonna hold. Okay, if not, we're just gonna continue and break that weekly zone. Why? Well, because we're coming from a weekly demand zone, which is also very strong. Okay, so of course we can pull back deeper below the 50% into a zone that might look something like this, right? But this is way too deep, right? So I'm actually like, you can also use the hourly time frame right now. Right, we have a pullback, and where did the market come in? Well, it actually came in and retested something that is below the 50%. It pushed into the highs, and right now it's kind of in this push phase overall. So I will be looking for longs. Like if I'm trading this pair, I would look for longs. I would look for this high to break, and after this high breaks, I'm gonna be examining to see what is gonna happen within this zone. Okay, so Euro JPY, I'm gonna say bullish for now. I do think we can just pop into the highs on market open, or of course we can just reverse. We never know what's gonna happen, but this is how I look at it right now, right? Weekly is bullish, daily is a little bit bearish, right? And 4H is bullish right now, so it's all about seeing who is gonna prevail. Next on the list are the Aussies, starting from AUD USD. Well, what we see is 3 consecutive massive bearish weeks, right? 0.64 is currently where we just stopped, right, at the weekly candle close. If I go to explore the quarterly time frame, well, we have a massive bearish candle that is about to close, right? Potentially coming from, like, we have this big supply, which is actually what caused the break. We pull back, responded from this guy, and right now we are on our way down. So are we going to go below this zone, 0.55? Well, that is, what is it, 10,000 pips. So I cannot really forecast that far in time. Taking it into the monthly time frame, well, we are about to tap into some sort of a demand zone right there, but it is a little bit hard to draw, right? I can't take this as a demand zone because this is ridiculous, right? I can't really take this because then I'm not considering the previous candle. So what I can take is the wick, right? Which is kind of what makes sense the most. But this, again, this is a 600 pips zone, right? So you really don't want to do this. So again, what I usually do is I'm going to go to the weekly. If there is something on the weekly, good. If not, then that's fine. What I see on the weekly is that there is a little zone right there, which is good. This little guy right there is just being broken, so it's invalid. So nothing too much to look on the left. And this is not something that you should be looking, right? Looking too much on the left on no time frames, drawing those demand zones, drawing those support and resistance zones, trying to catch the bottom and the top. No, focus on what is happening right now, because the market is going to show you when the lower low is done, right? So yeah, massive push to the downside, nothing more to say. Dropping onto the daily time frame. The market started again very bearishly, right? We already were bearish from the past week. Monday opens, bearish. Tuesday, little pullback. Wednesday, a little bit of a whipsaw right there. Thursday, inside bar, right? So right now we're technically still within this kind of a daily candle, which is also right now acting as an inside bar of the next 2 candles, okay? So looking at how this one formed, I do think the first thing we do is potentially head for the lows, right? So pretty bearish on the Aussie. Dropping onto the 4H, what we see is that we had actually a valid 4-hourly pullback right there. Also, by the way, guys, what you can do is you can use the line chart, right? So if you have a clean pullback on the line chart, right, then definitely it is a lower high or a higher low. Like this, for example, is not a lower high because it's flat, right? You usually want to see it like a V shape, right? Something like this. Those are usually the valid ones. This one is a pretty valid one. And what happened is that this one actually shifted the structure to bullish, right? So what we had is a new bullish range. The market tapped into 50%, right? There was also a little bit of a zone right there. Tapped inside. Then it tried to push up. My voice is disappearing. It tried to push up, right? But what it did, it failed to break above, right? And what happened afterwards is that we massively reversed to the downside, right? So right now, 2 things can happen. Well, the market is either already in a reverse phase, creating this MSS pattern, market structure shift, and is about to take the low, or is pulling back towards this zone, which is actually the zone that caused the reversal. Okay, so a little bit tricky right now to judge what AU is gonna do. I do think we can have a reaction from here on the 4-hourly time frame, so we might get that little reaction, but then the question is, right, are we gonna then reverse and break lower, or are we gonna break higher? okay, because we have those two zones right now. Yeah, well, this depends on the sentiment, depends on how the market is gonna open, depends on the news as well for the Aussie, so I really don't know, right? What we could be looking for right now is the 15-minute to see how it's gonna respond. We can see that we are also taking that little guy right there. Did we take it? No, we haven't, right? So we have one more leg to the downside. And as we start tapping within this kind of, yeah, I can take this to this right there. If I just refine this one a little bit on the 50-minute, this is where I will be looking for potential aggressive reversals, right? Because this is also kind of a setup. If we tap inside, then if we shift the 50-minute structure, we can get like a little bit of a pullback. Where do we know the pullback is gonna start? We can just measure like the most recent range like this. And usually like within the 50%, you can find a zone where you can take your profits, okay? But of course, I don't think that's a good idea because you're simply gonna be trading against the momentum. But this is something that I expect because this is a very strong demand zone. So it can give us that pullback lower high. And then potentially from here, we can carry on to the downside with the overall bearish trend, okay? So that's Aussie, right? If I get the opportunity to long, I'm gonna do so. But if it pulls back immediately and gives me a short, that's the best bet, right? So always remember and ask the question, right? What is my high probability direction and trade, right? So what is my high probability direction? It's shorts, right? What is my high probability trade? Therefore, it's short, right? So always focus on that, right? And if you take those counter trend trades, then make them with low risk because it's not worth it, okay? So that's my outlook on AU, right? I'm overall bearish, but I do see a little bit of a potential for long. So let's see how Monday is going to open and if we're going to have that pullback. The JPY, monthly time frame, a massive spike into the highs. Like you can see, it has been spiking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months already. It's been spiking. Do we have a big spike on the quarterly? Yes, we do. Right, a nice spike on the quarterly, and the quarterly looks like a nice range right now, like slowing down of the range. It really looks like it wants to pull back towards these zones right there. So hopefully you will get a little bit of a bearishness on this one. Dropping onto the weekly, what we have looks like kind of a whack-off. Maybe somebody can help me on this one. 1, 2, 3 drives into the highs, right? Maybe we have those bounces and all that stuff. I don't know how it works. But if I'm technical, yeah, this pullback right there, we can count this pullback as a potential higher low, but to me, it's not really valid. It's gonna have a pullback right there because it's a bearish candle, but then we just based and immediately impulsed. And usually I would like to see a little bit more of a pullback. So technically where we're going right now is within this wick, and I'm really gonna confirm a weekly bearish trend after we break this zone. Okay, I'm not gonna count this one as a break right now, right? Dropping onto the daily is definitely bearish right now because the daily created a valid range right there. Pullback, pushed, right? And right now, technically, like this is our daily reversal. Huge spike, very hard. So I can take this one, refine it a little bit, even like this, right? So this is where we can potentially go. I do think this one can get taken out, right? So we can tap into this zone, which we just refined on the daily. And then from here, I'm going to be jumping on the 4H to see what's going to happen, okay? So the most recent momentum on the Aussie is bearish, right? So let's have a look at the 4H. The 4H has a similar situation like the Aussie, right? But it's different. It's very different because we broke right there, which created our 4-hourly shift, right? We pull back beautifully for a potential long, but unlike AU, this one went on and made a new higher high, right? So what is this, right? It's a higher high. So if we have a higher high, we also have a higher low, which is right there. And what happens right now is that the higher low is broken. So we are technically bearish, right? Which is really good. This is a great pattern. So what we can have is we can ask, okay, what caused the break? Well, we can take it from the high. We can take it from here and look for a potential 50% pullback. The range that I see is right there. So this is what I'm going to be looking for, okay? Also on this one, because we're tapping into a very strong demand zone, which I'm going to also define on the 50-minute like this, we can get a retracement trade. All right, so we tap inside the 50-minute. If it reverses, then we can have this tap right there, reverses on the 50-minute, and then it goes down. Right, so this is how I imagine a textbook delivery on Aussie JPY and also on the Aussie. Right, but this one is already bearish, which gives me a lot of confidence that overall we are gonna potentially attack this low right there, this low. Right. So this is my eventual target. We can of course pull back towards this one. If you pull back towards this one, go short, guys. It's not financial advice, no signals, but I do think this one can work out amazingly, simply because the 4-hourly time frame is down right now, and daily is down, weekly is down as well with the bearish sentiment. So yeah, those are the Aussies, right? Looking like bearish, but we can have like a Monday, Tuesday reaction bullish. So let's see how it's gonna play out. Stay tuned for Tuesday. Let's have a look at the NZDs. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on them because they're pretty much similar to the Aussies, just that they are a little bit more bearish, right? A little bit more weaker. A little bit weaker. So we are about to tap again. So unlike like the other pairs, this one is already about to break like the major quarterly monthly low, right? It's very close. So I don't think we can like get a big reaction because this is just like a magnet for price. I do think we're gonna break the low first before we reverse, because yeah, imagine like, look at this massive candle. Imagine like the next one like printing bullish. It's definitely possible, but I just think we can first take out the low and then reject, right? But of course we never know what's gonna happen. So again, weekly time frame is just absolutely bearish. We can just refine this level like this, right? So that we know that we are potentially in a demand or support zone, right? But don't expect like a big reversal, and of course wait for the 4 hourly to reverse before you go short, before you go long. Daily time frame, like this is massively bearish, right? Massive bearish. We had that little strange wick right there. Well, this week was very shitty because we had a lot of news, right? A lot of development, a lot of news, a lot of speeches, which made it a bit hard, like a little bit wicky. So massive big push inside bar, took out the high, and then it reverses lower. So this looks like the 4 hourly is already bearish, like unlike AU. So we have the same shift right there. It pulled back, gave you a long, but also broke the high, and right now it's breaking the low. Okay, so pretty much exactly the same, right? We can have the zone right there potentially. Then I see this little was a potential supply that is gonna be within the 50% of the overall range. So yes, pretty much if we just go and break it, then I'm still gonna keep this range like this, right? But if from here we pull back towards this one, this is gonna be a good trade, right? Because right now the 4 hourly is bearish. The question is it gonna respond from this demand as a reaction, right? As a catalyst for a pullback, and then to potentially go lower, or is it just gonna break, invalidate this, and then give us a pullback lower high, so then we can continue going short? Okay, so very big zone. Yes, we are into demand, but don't focus too much on the left, right? Just focus on what is happening right now. Like this, it's bearish, so I'm looking for shorts. Very similar setup to the Aussie dollar and to the Aussies. It's just that unlike the Aussie dollar, NZD USD made a new high, and technically right now is bearish, right? But if I just go to compare it to the Aussie did not, right? The Aussie made an MSS, right? Which is again that divergence that we usually have at some pairs. Monthly time frame on NJ, similar to probably AJ and EJ. It's pulling back towards like this quarterly zone. We threw a big wick, but then look at that, like for quite a couple of quarters we're just chopping at this high. Monthly time frame, oops, not the 1 minute, 1 month, kind of the same, right? Did I just look at 3 month? Oh yeah, I was actually on the monthly, not at the quarterly. Nothing too much to extract on the quarterly, right? Yeah, so push, like little pull. I really have to look into detail at every single candle. I just don't think it's also valuable. So I'm just immediately gonna go on the weekly time frame. And yeah, well, we technically right now have a reversal on this one. Like unlike AJ, I think this one is this one did what I wanted to see, right? This is the major high low, right? This one is also pretty good, right? But it's more like internal. All of them are broken, right? So this one is definitely bearish. Right now, it is about to tap also into some sort of a demand zone, which might give us that weekly pullback. But of course, first we need to see that the 4 hourly reversal, right? And in the daily time frame, nothing much to extract. Same price action, we had a pullback, and right now a massive bearish candle. And similar on the 4H, we shifted bullish, pullback, a little bit of a long, right? So we break the high, but then we immediately shifted the 4 hourly to bearish. We have that same little demand zone right there that we think that it might respond. Can I refine this one right now a little bit? Yeah, maybe to something like this, right? So it's just below. Yeah. So yeah, the question is right now, again, on all those pairs, like on the NZDs and on the Aussies, is it going to respond to pull back to 50% and then drop like from a zone like this? Or is it gonna break first, right, and then give us a response, and then maybe look for a short, or maybe like, yeah, it might tap in right there, consolidate, and then turn bullish so we can go long as well. So a lot of scenarios, but on the short term for Monday open, those are the two scenarios that I'm looking for. Okay, there are both shorts because the trend is short on the 4H on every time frame. So again, what is our high probability trade? It's shorts. So let's see how it's gonna play out. Looking at the USD/JPY on the quarterly time frame, what I can say is that it's going to the moon. Like, look at that massive pump. Those are quite a few quarters of bullish price action. Like, since we accumulated right there, the USD/JPY is just going for the skies, right? It's just massive, right? So nothing too much to extract on the quarterly. It's just pushing. If I drop on the monthly, nothing much to extract. Like, it just pushes, creates a base candle, right? Which later acts as demand, right? Then it pulls back into it and continues to push, right? So currently we don't even have like a monthly zone. Yeah, which is like, yeah, this is the higher low overall right now on the weekly. So this is our next zone, right? So the market is again in a massive push. So anytime right now we can expect a start of a pullback, right? But when it's gonna happen and if it's gonna happen, we just don't know, right? Which is why I really advise you to be patient with this pair and wait for the 4-hourly time frame or even the daily to show you that it's going bearish, right? Because again, as I said, it's just rocketing on every time frame. Dropping onto the daily, we had like this big wick right there. It was something with the JPY, I think news or something like that really shook the market like this, which also caused like if I go on the 4-hourly time frame, which is what we discussed last week, it caused like a break of structure, right? But it was just cooking, right? Took the high, took the low, and back into the range, right? So technically we're still in this range, right? And all of this is just it's just manipulation, right? So manipulation at the high, right, and manipulation on the low. So we're back into the range, right? So if you look at it like this, you see that really nothing happened. Okay. So very hard to actually say anything regarding JPY. What we explored last week is cool. If this is a break of structure, then we have this supply, right? But what I told you is not to rush, right? Don't rush. Like, look at that. It's pulling back. It's pulling back. It's pulling back. It looks like for a moment, it shifted right there on the 4H, right? Then you can say, this is supply. And it kind of looks like it's holding. It tried to push, but it just fails, right? So I think we might have another push into the highs. And then yeah, then again, monitor for that bearish shift. So nothing much to say on JPY. It's consolidating on the 4H, it's consolidating on the daily, it's consolidating on the, oops, I was gonna say it's consolidating on the weekly, right? Well, yeah, if you look at the last couple of weekly candles, they didn't do much of a move. So just give it time, okay? Just give it time and wait for that 4-hourly time frame to turn bearish before you go short. And if it goes above, then I just don't know, right? A lot of times you just don't want to go long because it's too high, but a lot of those times the market just keeps going long. Okay, so for the USD/JPY traders, I wish you good luck. Let me know what you actually think about doing this pair. Are you gonna wait on it? Are you gonna short it? Are you gonna long it? Let me know. I'm very curious. Let's have a look at the GBPs, which are also very massive, and something very important is happening right now, right? The pound is breaking a zone from 1985, right? Which is the lowest point that we're having. Like, we're creating all-time lows right now. So history is being made. One pound gives you $1.03, right? Which is insane, right? And knowing that we just a little bit before we were at 1.40. right? And right now we're already dumping massively. So nothing too much to extract from the quarterly. Like, sure, we have a break of structure. It's extended. It's taking massive lows, right? So I would expect it starts to recover a little bit, but we have no signs of that. The monthly time frame is kind of the same, right? It pushed and it rejected. Like, look at that monthly candle. It's is this 1,000 or 13,000? No, yeah, I don't know, but it's a lot of pips, right? This is a lot of pips of this monthly candle. I think it's 1,300 pips, right? And yeah, pretty much this rejection was 800 pips, right? And also this Monday, I think on Monday we moved another like 400 pips. So weekly time frame, it's just bearish, right? This is the last clean pullback we had, which also retested this supply. So someone is probably rich who shorted right there, and it's still holding to the downside, right? We have a little pullback right there, which is not a valid range according to me, right? The push lower, but yeah, this can act as potentially as supply, right? Then dropping onto the daily, yeah, you can see that just the price on GU is getting a bit funny, right? It just massive drop on Monday right there. So yeah, I think this is Monday where we dropped 500 pips, right? Last Friday it dropped 400, and then it opens and drops another 500, right? So it's insane. And right now it's in this pullback mode, but it's kind of just looking at the overall range. For me personally, it's a little bit hard to kind of define what is happening. Okay, so then if I drop on the 4H, also the 4-hourly range is a bit hard, because look at this whole push, right? This is your range. Like, this right there is your last pullback right there. So currently, technically, we're tapping into this last pullback, right? And we have that similar situation on EU where it broke the high, right? And right now it's breaking the low, and there is a little chance that we take like a reversal from here. But I would love to see this level violated right there, potential is liquidity, and then to see the shift and then to start shorting eventually, right? So there is a lot of volatility happening right now within the UK, within the pound, right? So it's rather uncertain right now. Well, yeah, pretty much the market is uncertain. But yes, I don't believe this little shift is a potential sign for shorts, right? So be very careful, because yeah, if you drop on the 50-minute, you see, yeah, it kind of chopped, it pushed up, it reversed, and right now it's in this pullback mode. So you can be looking like for shorts from here, right? The tap first, second tap, very similar to EU, right? Precisely the same pattern as EU. I would love to have that push into this big supply zone, right? Especially for GU. But of course, if it taps, then if it starts to reverse, I can take a little short, right? But again, long term, I do think we can tap inside this zone again, okay? So yeah, this is pretty much GU, right? Nothing too much. Technically, we're still trading within this range. So that is the range. So if we're going to take a short, the short is going to be a pullback towards the 50%, and then we might actually get a long, right? But just looking at the fundamentals and with the overall sentiment of the pound, right now it's a bit hard to determine, because we made all-time lows, and you can see we're already starting to kind of recover and reprice. So it's very hard for me to say, are we going to continue going lower, make new all-time lows, or are we just going to start like retracing a little bit higher, right? Or what is also another potential is that we just start ranging right now, okay? But GU always provides, like in terms of intraday, like liquidity grabs, previous daily highs and lows. It works amazing with that stuff. So yeah, well, that's my view on GU. I think we can have a short-term short, but again, I would really love to see the market push towards like 1.13 and take out this high right there. And then from there, I'm going to be dropping to like a 50-minute or to an hourly to look for a shift to bearish, and then start shorting with the overall bearish sentiment. Why am I on the Dixie? Okay, yeah, because I used a different chart. So let me go to GJ right now. Yep. So GJ on the monthly. Ooh, what? Look at that monthly candle. This is just insane, right? So through monthly. Yeah, the quarterly is tapping into this demand zone, which is why probably we're having this huge reaction, right? Monthly time frame is just insane, right? Just look at that candle. This is just an insane candle. How many pips is that? 19, yeah, 1,900, right? Almost 2,000 pips candle, which is huge, right? So then if I jump to the weekly time frame, we're having a massive rejection. So I really don't know what to expect on this one. It's very volatile, massive drop lower, massive rejection higher. Technically, the weekly right now is bearish. Like this is a break of structure. This is our higher low. The higher low got broken right there. So technically it's bearish, right? So we're about to tapping into a weekly supply zone, right? Dropping onto the daily. Yeah, we have that same situation. Massive push lower, massive recovery higher. So are we going to tap inside this zone and get a short? I don't know, right? The GBPs right now are very tricky to me. Similar situation to GU, right? So we're tapping inside some sort of a zone, which looks like this. Right, we can also take it the wick. So I do think this one also has a little bit of upside, which I think also GU is gonna break above. Okay, they have one more push into the highs, I believe. But yeah, I'm not really gonna short this one from here. If it provides maybe on the 50-minute, as I said, or GU, it's possible. But yeah, like you have this sort of zone right now. But this is a very aggressive trade, which I really think it's not worth it to take. So wait for it to tap inside right there, and then simply what I'm going to be looking for is for the 4-hourly to reverse. That's it, right? As simple as that. Right now, the 4-hourly is kind of rather in a bullish flow, so I keep following that bullish flow until I'm wrong, right? And if it starts to shift down, then I'm going to go short, okay? So GBPs, a little bit tough, right? A little bit tough. My analysis disappeared because I did it with another broker. But yeah, I'm looking for overall shorts. But first, we need to see the 4-hourly also align for shorts so that we get our high probability trade. Euro GBP, I'm just not gonna look at this. Like massive run high, massive run low. I don't know what's happening on the side. This one probably get like a huge monthly rejection candle. So yeah, big thing. Like look at that choppy price action right there, and look at that wick, right? So solely this candle is taking like 700 pips, and 700 pips is probably this range right there. So it's just insane, right? Insane what's happening. And at times like this, you might go to different assets, to different currencies, right? Trade what is clean, right? And avoid price action like this. So yeah, those are the GBPs. They're not the best right now, so allow them a little bit more time, allow for the 4-hourly time frame to develop, and then of course strike when it's clean. Let's have a look at gold on the quarterly time frame. So it doesn't contain a lot of information, right? But if you actually have a look, the overall push right started from right there, right? So push, push, push. This is where we actually took out the high, right? Then we gave a little bit of a pullback. We tried to push higher, but we failed, right? We failed, which means that this low right there becomes liquidity and we just took it out, right? And if we draw the overall range from here to here, you can see that 50% is just got pinked, right? Which is major. So we took the liquidity below right there. We are right now at 50% of the quarterly time frame, which is major. So can we expect a rebound, right? That is something very important that we have to look for. Monthly time frame, it's just bearish, right? The monthly candle is gonna close bearish as well, so nothing too much to extract. Weekly time frame, we're tapping into this zone, which is perfectly resonating with that quarterly 50%, and we just tapped in, we're already rejecting a little bit. Yeah, but the weekly time frame is overall bearish, right? So we're still bearish on gold. We have this range on the weekly. We have 50% supply zone right there, right? Which is good. The daily time frame is gonna actually shift first, because currently the daily lower high is this big zone, right? So if we break above here, we're gonna have a daily reversal, and then we're gonna encounter the weekly zone, right? So if gold is about to reverse from this quarterly 50%, it's gonna need a lot of time and a lot of power. Okay, so we might do maybe something like this, then this, like this. Yeah, then it can potentially turn bullish. But in terms of fundamentals, well, the dollar has to start depreciating. So this is important to see first before actually gold goes higher. But yes, technically right now it is still bearish. Okay, the hourly time frame gave a recent shift, right? So we have a pullback, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This is where we broke the FOH to the upside, right? So right now we have a new FOH break, right? So technically right now the hourly is bullish, but we're tapping into a bearish daily zone, right? So we got a lot of conflicts right now. So yeah, technically, if you just follow the FOH, this is our 4-hourly higher low, right? This is where, this is the point until which the 4-hourly is bullish, right? So if you pull back right there, you can take longs in terms of the 4-hourly, but if you break right there, then we're gonna go into short mode. Okay, so there are a lot of scenarios on gold right now. Of course, I always want to look at the higher time frames. The weekly and the daily are bearish, right? Which is the most important thing. If this level breaks, then the daily is gonna turn bullish, which might give us a little bit more confidence when it comes to going longs. But at this moment, yeah, I would say stick to bearishness for now, right? Don't try to go long. If you went long right there, great, right? This was a great 50% pullback. Oh no, it's not a 50% pullback. Okay, that really sucks. But then right now we push, and if you use the Elliott wave, 1 2 3 4 5, we have one more push into the highs, right? So if we pull back and tap towards this demand, I do think we can get a long, right, with good confirmation. Okay, so this is one of the outcomes. Maybe we can even do this, right, and then turn bearish from this daily supply. So let's give it some time. Okay, let's give it some time. Weekly is bearish, daily is bearish, right? So this is your high probability trade, but of course the 4-hourly flow has shifted right now from this big weekly demand and also quarterly 50% tap. So let's give it some time. And of course the gold traders, let me know what you think, right? Let me know, are we gonna go lower overall towards 1600s, or are we going to reverse right there and then break the daily leg? Let me know. I'm always curious about your feedback, but this is how I currently look at it, right? I have overall 2 scenarios. All right, let's have a look at the indices. We're going to do a top down analysis as well. So starting from US 30 on the quarterly time frame. So we have a very interesting range right there in terms of the quarterly, right? We had the COVID crash right there, which created a low right there. Then we pushed and we made a high. So if I take the FIP, right, from the low to the high, we can see that we are just traveling towards the 50% right now, which is amazing, right? And the 50% is pretty much located right there in a very strong demand zone, right? And it's just below 28, right? Around 27.50. So this is eventually where I would love for the market to go, right? And already right now we are in big fear, right? So we're coming at a very strong demand zone, and when the market is very fearful right now, where you gotta be greedy, right? So I plan to buy a lot right now. So there are a lot of stocks right now on discount. There are a lot of index funds as well. So it's a really good time to be buying. Very nice monthly bearish candle right now, so definitely bearishness, right? We are, I think, on US 30, yeah, we entered bear market definitely in a while, and right now we are extending those bear market gains, tapping into 29, right? And we're in an overall decline from the top for 22%, which is great. Okay, so dropping onto the weekly where we're overall bearish, right? We had that little bit of a short-term reversal right there, and then we tapped in demand, responded, and then we broke, right? So this is where we broke. So technically this is a little weekly supply that we can draw, but yeah, we're just impulsing to the downside right now, potentially traveling towards 50%. I can refine my zone a little bit. This is where eventually I would like to see the price come in, right, in towards the 50%. So I take shorts until then. Daily time frame gave that little pullback on one of the days and then continued going lower, breaking structure right now. So if we go to the 4H, we're gonna see that the structure is being broken. We got that little short-term reversal right there, which made me think that we might go a little bit higher, which made me also consider longs right there, but it was a little bit hard to get in, right? Then we actually responded from here, and right now we're breaking below, right? Which technically turns this as our supply zone, right? And then this right there is our bearish break, right? So pretty much if we have a pullback towards the zone, I'm gonna be interested for shorts. That's it, as simple as that, right? Because I train myself to be intraday trading right now, US30. This is how I'm gonna be looking at it, pretty much exactly the same of what I do with Forex, right? So yeah, I'm looking to see how it's gonna go. If it comes in right there, I'm gonna be dropping to the 50-minute time frame and waiting for that overall shift. But yes, overall, I'm very bearish. I do think we have more space to travel towards the downside, and it's also a great time to be buying stocks, right? Let's have a look at Nasdaq, which is pretty much the same. Yeah, we see that on this one, we did not fall that much right there. We just created like a bearish candle. The tech index is just very bullish, right, overall. But right now we're having like a very nice 30, almost 35% decline. And if you look at this, right, so this is Oanda, right, we can see that this one does not pull back that much, right? So here we have a very nice crash 2008, right, which was like a 50%, right? But you can see that when it pushes, like it gets like those little pullbacks by one candle, right? So just 3 monthly candle pullbacks, which is great, right? And pretty much our demand zone is the COVID crash right there, and we're already into 50% on this one. So again, I do think this one is going to be more related to the other indices as well. Monthly time frame right now pushed down, pull back, creating a new lower low. So target is achieved, which was this low. And yeah, on Nasdaq, I find it a little bit hard to say like where it's gonna go, where it's gonna stop. But I pretty much correlated to US30 and to S&P as well. Okay, so there is our supply zone right now. This is what caused the market to break below. Going to the daily, well, the daily is also bearish. So this is like a hard time frame zone that we can tap if we initiate like a bullish push. If we shift the structure on the 4H, this is where eventually we can come in and stop, right? But if I zoom in right now, the market is perfectly bearish, right? So we broke the high, but then we immediately went and broke the low. We pulled back and actually got a short right there, potentially. Right now, we're breaking the 4-hourly lows again. Our new supply zone is a little bit sloppy right there. So you might have to use like a, yeah, I think 6 hours. Yeah, we can use like this candle, which is very big, but yeah, this is probably, yeah, the 4-hourly candle right there. So yeah, if I'm trading this this instrument, I'm gonna be looking for a pullback right there, lower high, and then a potential continuation lower. Yeah, but in terms of the higher time frames on this one, we're right now kind of about to test some sort of supply and demand zones on the left. But I wouldn't really recommend you to come in right there and draw every single one, because yeah, it's really not worth it, right? You're gonna have maybe a little response and then it's just gonna continue dropping. So follow the 4-hourly trend, right? S&P is very nice momentum to the downside. Let me just check the quarterly time frame. Similar to US30, this one is traveling towards 50%, just about to tap it, which is great. It's also tapping into like a monthly, a little base right there on the monthly, which is also nicely seen on the weekly. There it is, the sell, and then we started buying, taking out all of these lows right there. A second projection I have is 3K, right? 3K is like the maximum I think the market could potentially go, but who knows, right? 3K is the next level that I'm gonna be buying from, right? But the first one is, of course, as we tap 50%, and which is 35, right? I think I've been calling 35 to 34 in a while. So we are almost approaching it, right? Making a very nice lower low on the weekly time frame, creating a very nice hard time frame supply zone. But then daily and 4-hourly time frame right now are bearish, right? So similar situation right there. We broke the high, and right now we're breaking the low, and we have also a very nice supply zone. So if we pull back towards right there, shorts are going to be in play, and then we are just about to tap like the 50%. This is pretty much the level, which is the 50% is precisely resonating with 35. Like, look at that. It's just insane. If I just round it up, actually, it's probably going to come in precisely on the 50% level. There it is, right? So this is where I'm buying, right? So if you have stashed money, right, if you invest in stocks and indices, I do think this is a great time to buy right now. Again, not financial advice, but coming onto my other chart, you can see right now that 1 year ago we were at 9, extreme fear, right? And right now we are at 15, coming from 1 month of 49, right? So the market is really fearful right now. Dow plunges, the bond market is crumbling, blah blah. There is fear, right? We're breaking below this low right there, and as I told you last week, we are right now about to revisit like the lowest points right there. So it is a good time to buy because usually we see a recovery. So are we gonna see like a reversal? No, the market is probably gonna go down for a while, right? But again, it's good to stack up. So that is my outlook on the indices. They are very bearish, like US 30 and S&P are about to tap into very important levels. So it's a good time to start buying. This is what I'm also going to be focusing on, right? So leaving trading a little bit on the side for now, focusing on that thing because this is wealth creation. This is not speculation. This is actually for your future, right? So make sure to buy some stocks. Crypto, I'm just not going to look at it because it's just indecisive, right? We got an overall range. Again, the market pushed up, down, pushes up again. So it's just the structure that is unclear. So I just leave it on the side, right? Don't try to forecast. Don't try to say where it's going to go or what it's going to do because you just don't know right now, right? After the drop, it's just uncertain right now. It's cooking. It's cooking for something potentially. But there's like Ethereum is just very choppy on the daily right now. Bitcoin as well. So go focus on indices right now and on stocks, right? Avoid crypto. So this is how I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this top-down analysis. Hopefully you got value from it. Let me know if you did in the comments, please. I always love reading your comments, and make sure to like the video as well to support the channel. I'm gonna be posting more, but allow me some time to finish what matters to me the most right now. And yes, I wish you a lovely weekend if you're watching this during the weekend, and I wish you a crushing week ahead of you and a crushing quarter. Make sure to have your goals right now and attack them with no fear, right? So have an amazing one and talk to you on Tuesday.